My friends at Easy Cater are workplace catering pros, helping you find food for everything from daily employee meals to staff meetings and special events. Visit easycater.com/leaderassistant to find out more.
I'm Aimee Browne, and today's leadership quote comes from John Wooden. The most powerful leadership tool you have is your own personal example.
The Leader Assistant podcast exists to encourage and challenge assistants to become confident, game-changing leader assistants.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 76.
Hey friends, today's sponsor is Life Squire. They were founded by a former executive assistant looking to create a healthier relationship between current assistants and their clients. They found their niche in placing assistants in positions where you and your executive can thrive. If you're an executive assistant, they would love to help. You can visit their website at lifesquire.com/leaderassistant or call them at 405-889-4430 to find out how they can help you. lifesquire.com/leaderassistant. Hey, Leader Assistants. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Leader Assistant Podcast. It's your host, Jeremy Burrows, and I'm super excited today to be speaking with Aimee Browne. Aimee, how's it going?
Really great, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
And what part of the world are you in right now?
So I'm in England in the UK, or Leicester in England.
Okay. So what time is it?
It is 20 to 2 in the afternoon, and I'm recording this on my lunch break.
Oh, nice. And then for those of you that don't know, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and it is 7:40 a.m., and I'm recording this before I get in the car and go to work. So it's fun to talk to somebody on the other side of the world.
Yeah, indeed.
So let's talk about what your very first job was and maybe what skills you learned in that role that you still use today.
Okay, gosh. So I was an office junior. I think it was about 20 years ago. I don't even think I got taxed. No, it couldn't have been 20 years ago. I'm 35. It was about 18 years ago because I first met my husband. So yeah, I was an office junior. It was for a small web startup business. So I was the only admin function there. And really got involved in basic accounting, some search engine optimization, answering the phone, sales calls, you name it, I sort of got involved. And I think that's where my love of multitasking and that sort of natural ability came to light. So yeah, spinning plates, which is obviously what we do best now.
So then when did you transition to becoming an executive assistant, or I think were you a personal assistant for a while as well?
Yeah, so there's PA and EA roles over in the UK. Sometimes they differ, predominantly more in London, but they can be the same role. I came out of the office junior role and went into an assistant to a PA role, and the guy we worked for was quite a fiery fellow, if you like, and she walked out. So I got the opportunity to step into her shoes as a PA from quite a young age. I think I was 19 at the time, and his wife had been PA in London, and she kind of just trained me on the job, and it went from there really. So I've been a PA or an EA since that time. I suppose in true EA terms, in terms of being more strategic and project led, that has been over the last 10 years, really.
That's awesome that you got that early experience and the training from somebody that's done it before, kind of hands-on training.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being chucked in at the deep end sometimes is the best way to learn. And yeah, learned so much from her, and also working with that type of character at such a young age. He was quite challenging, and trying not to take that personal and just growing that thick skin from a young age has definitely held me in good stead throughout my career.
What do you think would be the number one struggle that you've had as an assistant and that you've heard from other assistants?
So my struggles, and you'll hear more about this as we talk about sort of my mental health issues, is the perfectionist and the control that I struggle to. I don't know. So something even really simple, the alignment, or just not being able to let anything go unless it's absolutely perfect. And sometimes you've got to make that decision about what the actual content is, what the messages you're trying to deliver, versus what it looks like, or getting it right in that respect. And I find it very difficult to let that go. I can't let anything go out if it's. I mean, we all have standards, but I think I just sort of took it to the next level. But since doing these events, I have met a lot of assistants that are really struggling with confidence, and I find it crazy because that's one thing I've never really struggled with. I know I'm really good at my job, and they're working in these amazing positions, these high-powered, incredible, powerful people, and they don't believe in themselves. They believe they've got there by chance. They don't believe in what they're doing day by day, or they've been in positions where they don't feel valued, or they've been spoken to in a certain way. And now their confidence is so low, they haven't got the choice. They don't feel like they've got the choice to move out of those positions, or that they're worthy of the position that they hold at the moment. So two quite different vibes.
Is there something that assistants should do, or that you would encourage them to do when they feel that undervalued and lack of confidence?
Yeah, so I think that we do so many tasks within a week and so many amazing achievements. You just kind of naturally do it and you naturally get on with it. And I don't think we take a step back and look at what we have achieved that week and go, right, I've run this event, I've done this, I saved this, and really reflect on what you've done each day. What was great, because we're very good at just looking at the negative instead of all the amazing things that we've achieved. And an accomplishment builds confidence. So just being grateful and practicing gratitude and reflection on a regular basis, I think helps build that confidence. And believing in yourself, like talking to yourself in a kind way, not berating yourself because you've done something that you thought was wrong. I mean, a lot of the time, something that you thought was massive has no impact on anybody else whatsoever, and nobody else would even notice that, but we give ourselves a really hard time about it. So if you do have those times, it's just sort of rationalising how you feel, and just taking a step back. So yeah, I think reflection of your achievements when we're moving through life and our jobs at such a pace, it can really help.
That's great. So what about a community of other assistants? How would you recommend other assistants kind of reach out and network together, and then also just maybe talk about the importance of being in a community of other assistants who get what you are going through?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was one of the reasons I started the Mindful Assistant. We can be, not everybody has a large community of assistants within their business. You can be a lone role. So yeah, nobody really gets what we do a lot of the time because we just do it, and it's just natural. So I created that community. So you could speak out about how you're feeling. You could rationalise those thoughts that you're having, and somebody could go, God, yeah, I feel like that too, and you can just support each other through those struggles. So I created the platform. I've got it on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, and they've all got different dynamics and different engagement, but really safe, supportive platforms. And then LinkedIn especially is really great. I've found a massive amount of support with assistants out there. just chatting and getting to know each other, learning about each other's businesses, each other's struggles, jobs, roles. And then if you've got the confidence to find things that are going on in your area, there's so many amazing associations and networks now, and a lot of it can be found online. So I just encourage you to reach out, because a lot of them are feeling exactly the same as you. And, you know, you can pair up and go to these events together.
So would you be willing to share a little bit about, you know, you mentioned mental health and your struggle with depression and where you are today, and maybe how that influenced the mindful assistance, birth?
Yeah, sure. So it started for me about 3 years ago. I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't really get the whole I'm off work with stress. I didn't really understand it. And I think, looking back on it now, that I had a lot of symptoms that I was living with for quite a long time. The inability to switch off, the tight chest, the lack of my sleep was diminishing. Like, I struggled to really switch off at night. My head was just going round and round in circles. Again, if I saw like a mistake or something like that, it was just like a pain in my stomach where it would hurt me emotionally. Or if I was trying to articulate how I felt quite a lot in meetings or to my exec, my emotions were like really bubbling on the edge. I had physical side effects like achy jaw. I just couldn't switch off. I couldn't switch off from work at all. I had no boundaries. You know, I would work later, come in earlier, and then be thinking about it at home, emailing myself, oh, I've got to do this, and everything just felt so heightened. And I didn't realise that I was feeling like that. I just thought that was normal, and I was really giving myself a hard time. You know, I'm a mum that works full time. I've got 2 children. Why can't I cope? There's loads of other women that are in this position, lots of assistants that are in these high pressure roles and exactly the same as me. And I just felt such a failure. It was just so hard to go to the doctors and make that step. My director at the time actually said, you know, I think you need to go to the doctors. You're just not yourself. And to tell somebody that I couldn't cope, when you are in that position, when you know you are the go-to in your department, you're the face of your exec, of your company, you're trying to hold the house together, be the mum, the friend. It just feels like the worst feeling in the world. And, you know, I had never taken any sick leave at that point. So to think that to have a day off, I was like, oh my God, just no way. And how could they possibly cope without me? Which we know isn't true. But yeah, so it was, I remember sitting in the doctor's waiting room, and it was just like, oh, I don't even know what to say to this guy. What am I even going to say to the doctor? I don't even know. But as soon as I stepped through that doors, it was just like a floodgate. And I ended up taking 3 months sick leave in the end. It really, really took hold of me. Because I was then signed off and I was left at home with my racing mind. I wasn't used to just sitting in calm. I couldn't even relax at the weekend. You know, there was always something to be done. So, yeah, a really bad bout of, it was diagnosed severe anxiety. I had mild depression. I suffered really bad panic attacks. And through treatment and time off, so I had CBT treatment at that time, and amazing support from my employers. I managed to then get a phased return back to work. So that was, just about 3 years ago. And I'd sort of learned up some practices over that time, you know, meditation. I was reading books and things like that. But then I think when I started to get better, you kind of just fall back into that pace of life again. You know, it's like when you go on a diet, you lose weight, you feel great, you get back in your jeans, oh, great. Then you're back eating your muffins again, and you're back in that cycle. And I think I was definitely more conscious about how I was feeling. I didn't revert completely back to my old ways, but I definitely wasn't taking care of myself as much as I should have. And so I moved out of that position, and then last year it sort of started to creep in again. And once you've experienced something like that, there's definitely a fear factor that's there for you. Like, am I going to spiral? Am I going to go down that hole again? So that's quite difficult to work with as well. So I think I was sort of fighting it off towards the end of last year. I came into this year and I was like, yeah, January, the diet, I'm feeling good. And then out of nowhere, it just hit me. And I was really, really trying to hold it together at work with various strategies. But I think I was too far gone. And then I woke up one day at home and I was literally just in a dark hole of depression, which was something I had very mild depression the 3 years prior, but this was just something else. And I totally just didn't want to be alive. I felt that I'm a really optimistic person. I've always been really positive, and I can, I love life and I love more. I was just exhausted, tired with life, tired with the crippling sadness that felt like. My husband had to physically get me out of bed. It was a horrendous time. It was really horrendous. And so to feel like that, and then to manage to get myself out of that place, just feels like the most incredible feeling. I never want to go there again. And I don't want anybody else to ever experience that. So that is why I created the Mindful Assistant. I knew I wanted to do something. I brainstormed, what is it? I know it's about assistance because I love our profession. And literally, as cheesy as it sounds, I woke up one morning and I was like, right, Mindful Assistant, that is what it is. So within 3 days, I think I'd created the brand, wrote my first post, registered my domain name, and then it's all just sort of gone from there. So I wanted to create a community to inspire, empower assistants all over the world with my content to take care of themselves better. My tagline is, who's taking care of you? You're serving your execs, you're coming home and you're taking care of your family. You want to be the best friend, the best daughter, son. And then right at the bottom of the pile is you. It's like, who is taking care of you? And we've got to tip the scales. You've got to put yourself first. And I think the traction that the Mindful Assistant has had since the start just speaks volumes about how people are feeling. And even to me, it's just like, it saddens me. It really saddens me that we're in these amazing positions. And we just have the most fantastic community, and we're not helping each other. We're not helping ourselves. So, yes, I wanted to create the safe and supportive community. And then it's sort of just evolved from there in that I've been doing speaker events and workshops for assistant communities and how they can work together, the practices, coping strategies, systems, self-love. It's just took off, and I'm now really pleased that I'm working one-to-one coaching with assistants to, really, really make some transformations with their mindset as well. So, quite the quite the journey on the last 6 months or so, I'd say.
Wow, that's amazing. Appreciate you sharing and your passion for helping others avoid the same situations. That's really how a lot of these things start. That's how my website started. Was I burned out and I was just running too hard and not taking care of myself. And so I was like, you know what? I need to help as many executives and assistants as I can not make the same mistake. And so, so I appreciate you stepping up and starting the Mindful Assistant and, helping other assistants all around the world.
Thanks. You too, Jeremy. I think that is what, if anything, this this really needs to show that, you and I, there's lots of assistants that do have these struggles. It's really normal. It's not a weakness. You feel, when you're going through these things, you feel like you're failing. You feel like you're really weak. You feel you can't cope, all of these things. But anybody that tells you they don't or haven't experienced those, even in a small measure, I don't believe you. Because it's just normal, and it is normal. And I think that's the thing. Like, mental health has become so big because everyone's just like, oh God, yeah, that's how I've been feeling. Well, you know what? If we just talk about it more, we talk about it like, yeah, I've had a cold, like I'm talking about, God, yeah, I've got this. Then you know what? We can just help each other get better. And look at what you've created with the leader assistant. No one's going to look at you and go, God, he suffered a burnout. He's not doing great. Or you still can be ambitious. You can still create a business on the side. You can be an amazing assistant. I've come back stronger than ever. So anybody that tells you that mental health makes you weak, is
yeah. So what are a couple practical, maybe everyday self-care tips that you recommend and like to share with assistants?
So I think one of my most powerful rituals is definitely my mornings. Now, I hear all the time, oh, mornings, I'm just not a morning person. It's not for me. But it's how you are choosing to make yourself a priority. If you go to work at 9 and you get up at 7, you need to do it, then you know what, get up at 5. I guarantee you will reap benefits from it. So I have sort of 7 key components that form part of what I call my mindful morning ritual, and I dip into them. I don't make it too rigid, because else then that just becomes a stick to beat yourself with when you don't do all of them or you haven't got time. And sometimes it depends on how you're feeling on the day. So gratitude I practice. So what am I thankful for that day? I meditate. Like, I know it's so hard if you're in the place where your mind is really busy, but stick with it. Even if you do 5 minutes, you're bound to get thoughts come into your head, but just try and let them pass and just take that moment of calm. There's some fantastic apps around now. And so they are really, really useful. And I use them in and around my working day sometimes. If I just need a breather, just take my headphones and my phone, get a meeting room, take a moment of calm, go for a walk, move. So again, I've sort of been doing morning motivators. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but that's because I leave the house at 7, and go on a bit of a speed walk, or I speak to one of my followers, or just moving your body is even minimum of like 10, 20 minutes a day really, really helps create good endorphins. My other part is inspire. As you know, I'm a big lover of your podcast, Jeremy. And I love to utilise the spare time I have within a day. So my commute time I use to read, or I don't read while I'm driving. I listen to audiobooks or podcasts, or just anything that inspires me or empowers me or I can learn from, just to use that time to the benefit. Joy, what really sparks joy for me within a day? So is it a really great music, a great song that I love, or can you get on the phone to your best friend? What is it that uplifts you? Because every day, whether it's something really small or something really big, you should spark joy in your life. And affirm. So I love an affirmation. There's something that you're struggling with. I don't know, for example, I could have been a bit nervous about coming on and speaking to you today, and I could just go, Aimee, you are worthy of all that you desire. You're fearless. Your strength is greater than your struggles, or whatever it is. I just write myself an affirmation, and it really just makes you believe what you're feeling, and then taking action. So if something's bothering me within a day, just taking action. So I just try and dip into any of those pools in the morning and just set my intentions for the day. What do I want to do for the day? how can I dip into one of those pots? Can I do it now? I set some time aside, and that time is your own. You know, it's really hard to control anything else that goes on in your day, because we do serve and we've got to be there for our exec. So it's just a really good way to set the tone for the day. So that's my sort of biggest takeaway, I would say.
Love it. I love it, except for the 5 a.m. part, but you know.
Well, I do say on my platform, you know, I leave the house at 7. Yeah. So and rushing really, really gives me anxiety. Like, I can't stand it. I always think I've missed something, I forgot something. I like to sit with my cup of tea. I love. So, getting up at 5 a.m. just suits me down to the ground. I'm like, I can do a little bit of everything. I can move slowly, get ready in ample time, and sort the children out, that type of thing. So whatever time works for you.
Yeah, totally. So what would be, you know, you mentioned during the day you try to take, you know, a little walk or you know, lock yourself in a conference room or whatever it is to try to kind of hit reset. What is the tip you have for kind of doing that in the middle of just constant interruptions throughout the day?
I have to say, so out of all of my self-care practices, I think this is the one where I fall down the most. It is really difficult, as you know, to try and break away, but it's just about being disciplined with yourself and being really aware of how you feel. So I try to take a lunch, and even if I can't take a lunch at lunchtime, I will try and go and get a breath of fresh air, or come up to a meeting room and use an app, or go and find a colleague that I know will just distract and brighten my day. Constant interruptions. I just try and push back and say, you know, if you need something, you know, when do you need it for? And try and just push back. So I'm working within my timelines and not theirs. It's just about working through your overwhelm and taking time out for you, even if it's just 5 minutes, just being aware of how you're feeling, I think.
Yeah, that's great. So what makes an assistant a leader?
I think what makes an assistant a leader is being able to lean in around the table, voice your opinion, be confident in your decisions, and just share your knowledge with other assistants as well. Putting yourself out there and networking really makes a difference, because you can sit in here being so insular, and actually you have so much to experience to draw on and to share with everybody.
Awesome. If you could snap your fingers and instantly give all assistants more of something, what would it be?
Confidence, for sure. I think there's a big lack of confidence where, because a lot of assistants didn't sort of, go into uni and do a particular course, for example, a lot of us have just sort of got into this role and evolved and grown. And then they're like, God, how did I get here? And this imposter syndrome of them thinking that they don't deserve, or they're unworthy of being in those positions, is rife. So believing in themselves, that all of those years of experience absolutely count for something.
Yeah. So I'm sure there are assistants listening who are kind of have some of the symptoms you described earlier, struggling with depression, struggling with anxiety. How would you encourage those assistants that are kind of like, man, I really need to change something? How would you encourage them to be vulnerable and open and share their maybe need for some time off and get help?
Firstly, I would say be kind to yourself. These are illnesses and they aren't weaknesses. Try and share with somebody that's close to you. Talk to somebody about how you're feeling in the first instance, and just accept that, it is an illness and you need to go and see a doctor and see somebody, get some expert help. And quite a lot of the time when you have those conversations, it's just such a massive release. you can really just takes the weight off your shoulders. So yeah, giving yourself permission and the time to heal and get better, and just accepting that it will pass, and you can get better. There's lots of us out there like me, like you, that have, we're living proof that there is light on the other side of how you're feeling, and it's just giving yourself time to work through and finding those other coping strategies and systems and rituals that work for you.
Great. Well, Aimee, thank you so much for taking time out of your day in the middle of your workday and just sharing your vision and your passion to help other assistants with the Mindful Assistant. Been great talking with you. And how can we support what you're doing, and where can we find you online?
Likewise. Thanks for having me, Jeremy. So I'm over on Instagram and also Facebook, and over on LinkedIn as well as Aimee Browne. So yeah, just come, engage, talk, support each other. And take care of you.
Awesome. Love it. Well, I'll put those links on the show notes, and thanks again for chatting, and we'll talk soon.
Great. Thanks so much, Jeremy. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks again, Aimee, for a great interview. Thank you for being honest and vulnerable. If you're listening and struggling with burnout, anxiety, depression, or any other mental health illness, please seek help. Please reach out, find professional help. Don't try to do it alone, and hang in there. You can check out Aimee's links to connect with her at leaderassistant.com/76 for the show notes, leaderassistant.com/76. Talk to you soon.
GoBulls.com